Hello, welcome back to the Bar Gym Reviews. Today, if you're going to build a serious home gym, rack attachments can either level up your training or turn into an overpriced dust collector. I've spent thousands testing some of the most hyped and heavy-duty attachments that are out there. Today, I'm breaking down every single rack attachment that I own, what I'd absolutely buy again, what I kind of regret, and some of that might surprise you. Whether you're just getting started or looking to upgrade, this will help you make a smarter buy for your setup. All right, so if you're building a home gym, your power rack is the foundation. And in my case, my foundation is the Rogue RM6. This is Rogue's 6-post monster rack that has 3x3 11-gauge steel with 1-inch holes throughout. And it's part of their Monster Series lineup. It's overbuilt, looks incredible, and honestly is more than most people will ever need, which is exactly why I bought it. So I've had this rack for about 3 years, and over time, I've added a ton of attachments that have taken me from just a rack to a full-blown training station. So I'm going to be breaking down everything that I've added, from the basic J-cups that I have, to belt squat trainers and recovery tools, landmines, dip attachments, the whole 9 yards. So I'll also let you know as I go through this video which ones are worth it, which ones maybe I use the most, and some that maybe they're overkill or I don't use them. So before I jump into all the accessories, here's why I chose my Rogue RM6 and what stood out for me when I was looking at Rogue as a company and the rack itself. So first of all, storage. It has six post design, so there is kind of like a built-in storage in the back, keeps everything clean, and adds more stability. And I have not anchored mine down. Not that I suggest that, just saying that I have not. Second, customization. The rack is pretty modular when it comes to the attachments that you can add, and the inventory on Rogue is huge. And third, Rogue quality, right? American steel, robotic welds, a beautiful finish that I can pick the color for, my dark blue, and it just feels like commercial grade gear that can be in your basement or even your garage gym. So we're going to go ahead and get into the attachments now. So make sure you stick around for the entire video, and so you know whether it's worth it, not worth it, or maybe, if it's just overkill. So we're going to go ahead and get started. So let's go ahead and kick things off with the most premium of upgrades that I've made in my rack. The Go Strong Roller J-Cups. So these aren't your average J-Cups. What makes them stand out is it allows you to move the bar left to right from side to side to effortlessly center your bar. This can be a game changer for those of you lifting heavy that need to center that bar quickly. No more awkward adjustments, crooked setups for your heavy squat or your heavy bench. So I use these daily, whether I'm benching, squatting, overhead pressing, everything in between. So, and they've worked incredibly well over the last 2 to 3 months that I've owned them. They glide smoothly, feel sturdy, not loose or rattly. They're actually pretty well put on there, and they have UMHW lined everywhere. Honestly, once you've experienced how fast and precise the barbell set up, you never want to go back to your standard J-cups. Are they overkill for the average lifter? Probably. But if you're training frequently and you want a fast, frustration-free experience for every lift, they're kind of worth the splurge. Speaking of splurge, they're over $350 if you want them in a custom color like this. So one thing to note, Go Strong is licensed by Rogue now. You can buy them from Rogue, and it fits perfectly with my Rogue Monster Series, my RM6. So the compatibility is perfect. So just make sure that you're selecting the right hole size. Bottom line, check out my full review if you really want to see what I actually think of the Ghost Rollers. Obviously, it's pretty positive, but a more in-depth review is necessary. So we're going to go ahead and move on to our next attachment. All right, next up, another J-Cup, but this is the Rogue Sandwich J-Cup. This came standard when I bought my RM6. Honestly, they're still solid performers, though. And even though I've upgraded to the Ghost Roller J-Cup, this is perfectly fine for most lifters. The key feature here for the sandwich design is this thick piece of UMHW plastic that is between the two steel plates. It gives a really robust protection against damaging and marring up your bar. So it's going to save you in knurling over time. So they're definitely heavy built, like most Rogue gear is, and they feel very comfortable and very secure on the rack. Whether you're racking or unracking, there's really no wiggle or bounce. And I actually use these side by side with my wife during our training sessions. That's why I have the roller J cups as well, because I could put her barbell and her weights on this J cup, and then I will obviously selfishly use the Ghost J cups. So having both sets mounted the rack makes the transition really quick for both of our workouts. Comparing it to the Ghost a little bit, I'm not going to do a full comparison video here. Maybe something I can do in the future, but it's definitely a little bit more manual, no rolling, just lift, drop the weight. But honestly, there's no drama here. It's a perfectly functional J cup and probably better than most J cups on the market. So if you're not ready to spend the big money of the Ghost Strong, if you don't have Ghost Strong money, then this is a great sweet spot for you. They do offer it in a 2-inch, which is a little bit wider. This is a 1-inch. And they do offer a more basic package. But with the 1-inch variety, looking at about $265, which again is about $100 cheaper than the roller J cups from Ghost. So again, solid, simple, dependable. I still consider these a must-have, and they do come with the rack. This one was just a little bit of an upgrade. So you should be in good hands here with the Sandwich J cup from Rogue. All right, so now I'm going to talk about one of the centerpieces to my rack setup, which is the Rogue Rhino Belt Squat Trainer. If you train legs, this kind of changes the game, right? It lets you load your lower body without compressing your spine, which can be huge for, those of you recovering from injury, dealing maybe with back pain, or honestly, you just want to increase your training volume. It mounts directly to the rack, as you can see here. It saves space, and honestly, the loading feels super smooth with the trolley and guide system that it does have. You can do belt squats, you can do rows, pull-throughs, marches, RDLs. You can get super creative with the lat pull down as well and work your upper body. So it is an incredibly versatile and way more stable than most standalone belt squats, which makes it honestly really easy to step in and out of and get a really quick and efficient workout. So it does take a little bit of time to set up, although once set up, you can use it efficiently and adjust your belt height and the strap length to make it kind of seamless. So it does include handles, a platform, keeps you feel locked in with that diamond plating, which I'll cover a little bit more and you can see. So now I've already made a full dedicated video to the Rogue Rhino Belt Squat Trainer. So going over the setup and how to program and all that good stuff, that deep dive, go ahead and just watch the video. So I don't want to, I'll glaze over that for now. So bottom line here, for me, this is like the centerpiece. This is the one that I've had it probably about 3 months now, and it's the one thing that I've wanted for the longest time. I got it, and I have absolutely no regrets. This is pricey, though, right? I got just the add-on for a little bit over $2,800, so it is a price point that you need to mull over and realize, is this something I'm going to use? Personally, I just think with the amount of versatility you can add, not to mention the volume you can add to your training, I think it's a no-brainer for me, but it is a significant upgrade to your rack. All right, to go along with the Rhino trainer, I also have the Rogue foot plate attachment. While it doesn't look like much at first, this thing is massive in size, build quality. It's just totally Rogue. So foot plate's designed specifically for the Rhino belt squat, bolts directly onto the platform, and it's stable, textured platform. For every rep, it really does help stabilize your feet. With the diamond plate specifically, it keeps you kind of locked in, no slip during your training sessions. Realistically, I do it for low rows. I do it off the end of the bench. I'll do it on the floor. But for me, there's not much else that's added for this. So this came with my Rhino Belt Squat Trainer. I believe it does not come with it anymore. So you're looking at like $350-ish approximately. So it does take up a little bit of space. It is kind of hard to store because I like to take it off of that platform so I can squat in my rack like I've always done. So kind of an upgrade that if you buy the standalone with the Rhino and you're buying an extra, unless you're super into those cable rows, it might not be worth it. It's probably not the first purchase that you should buy. But if it's something you have a lot invested in your rack already, you really enjoy the Rhino Belt Squat Trainer, and you want to add the low rows, by all means go for it. If that 350-ish price tag doesn't scare you away. All right, next up, this is for safety, especially if you work out alone, and that's going to be the Rogue safety straps. So if you've ever bench pressed or squatted alone, you know how important it is and how safeties can legitimately save your life. So this is a little bit more of a complex safety strap system or safety system compared to pin and pipe safeties. They're heavy duty, nylon anchored to these steel brackets. So they're designed to catch the barbell, right? I've failed over 400 pound on these before, and they work just great. There's no fraying, anything like that. I've had them, about 5 years or so. One thing I love most about these is how easy they are to adjust if you add a clevis pin to them. They're like $7 at Home Depot. So I've kind of modified mine a little bit. So whether you're benching, doing rack pulls, whatever makeshift thing that you're trying to do that you need pin supports for, these work just great. One little minor drawback is I wish they were more fixed sometimes. However, it does give you a little bit of flexibility when they have some give like this, right? So overall, a great addition, but it's a must-have addition to your home gym is safety straps, safety spotters. For me, I don't have any spotters. I just have the safety straps. And realistically, it's something that could legitimately save your life and protect you from yourself, right? Especially if you got a big ego while lifting, right? So not flashy. They do their job every time. And that is exactly what you want them to do. All right. So one of the most underrated but highly versatile attachments that you can buy is the Rogue Landmine attachment. So it's small, low profile, pivoting system mounts to the base of your rack just using one of these monster knobs, and it opens the exercise possibilities way up. It can be used for T-bar rows, landmine presses, single arm rows, meadow rows, rotational core work, lunges, and a lot more. The best part is it takes up almost no space. It's really not that big when it comes to compared to other attachments, right? So just bolt it onto the rack, one of the lower holes, and you're good to go, right? So the pivot action is very smooth, wide-ranging, and there's really no limit to the amount of up and down, left to right movements that you can do. So combined with that, with the planes of motion, it's something that is kind of hard to replicate on any other attachment or with barbells or dumbbells alone. So landmine exercises do tend to be a little bit more joint friendly when it comes to like pressing variations for shoulder and core work. And sometimes it's just a little bit more natural and beats up the body just a little bit less. So I also like using them for those Meadow rows. So RAP, John Meadows, one of the greats. But they are a great addition to your back day, right? So I love that. So it gives you a lot of bang for your buck here. I know I can't remember off the top of my head how much it costs. I know we're in like that $100 to $200 range. So if you're limited on space, or maybe you just want more variety in your programming, the Rogue Landmine is a no-brainer. Or honestly, any landmine attachment, not just from Rogue. It's very simple, sturdy, and has way more uses than when you look at it first glance. All right. So the Rogue Multi-Roller is one of my favorite attachments because it adds some serious versatility to the leg training and beyond. Primarily, I love using this for split squats. You can even use it for Nordic and ham curls, which are brutal but incredibly effective in building strength and even preventing injury in your hamstrings. Having the multi-roller attached to the rack gives stability and comfort when going through tough movements. It makes things easier to focus on your form and kind of get the most out of every rep. It's not just for legs, though. I think most people know that it's meant for, like a lat pull down, to hold your legs down, keep them secure during your cable exercise. So it adds comfort, support under your legs or above your legs, and it helps you stay locked in, which can be crucial for going super heavy, especially on those lat pull downs. So, out of all the attachments that I've bought for my RM6, this is probably one of the best investments that I have made. It's very durable, it's very comfortable, and the rotation helps a lot, especially with like those split squats, and it just brings a lot of options and versatility to my workouts. So if you want to add variety to your leg day and improve your pulling exercises and your leg exercises, the Rogue Multi-Roller can definitely be worth the heavy price tag of $365. It is also does come with 2 of the pins that keeps this thing. It actually adjusts up and down about an inch, so you can really get that secure and tight fit, especially during the lat pull down. So, is it worth it? In my opinion, I think it's one of the best investments I've made, but it is a hefty price tag. So moving on to one of my new purchases, this is going to be the Mutant Metals Ultimate Dip Attachment. It is a beast when it comes to adding upper body dips, and it's a perfect selection from our RM6. This dip station locks you securely onto the rack and features thick but comfortable handles that are durable and has a great powder coat finish and one that matches the rack. So one thing I really appreciate about this is the adjustability and the stability of the attachment on my rack. It fits pretty snugly onto the uprights, especially now. This is originally from Mutant Metals, but they have a partnership with Rogue now, so this one is from Rogue's website, so the specs specifically line up to that. But if you buy from Mutant Metals, he has the exact specs as well, and he does a phenomenal job on all of the attachments that he makes. And I really look forward to buying some of them in the future, like the arcs, right? So it's well spaced. I love how versatile you can move the handles in and out. You can get a great full range of motion, and you'll never have to worry about overloading the movement with heavy weights. So you can do really heavy weighted dips or even high reps, and it's never, ever going to be unstable for you, right? So compared to other dip attachments that I've tried, Mutant Metals version is obviously the top tier when it comes to build quality and usage and versatility, and I kind of just don't want to train without it now. So if you want a more detailed breakdown, I do have one, my equipment reviews. I'll go ahead and link that entire playlist in the video description here, so you can go ahead and check out all of them, but my Mutant Metals as well. So at the end of the day, it is pricey, right? You can get some dip attachments that do pretty well for, 150, 200 bucks. And we are looking in the $325, $365 range, I believe, here. And if you want to spend even more, you can go directly to Mutant Metals, and he does some fantastic craftsmanship on this unit. The Rogue ones, they turn out great as well. But, man, some of the finishes they're doing over there at Mutant Metals is amazing. So, personally, especially if you want to support the small fabrication shop that is Mutant Metals, I think this is a fantastic purchase, fantastic attachment, especially if you want to support somebody, support the little guy that's working his tail off, right? So for me, this is a buy, but maybe it's a little too much for just a dip attachment. All right, so last but definitely not least is going to be the Rogue Shrimp Trawler. This attachment adds tons of functionality and extends off the RM6, which gives you multiple different holes for maybe neutral grip pull-ups, Olympic rings, and it bolts very securely to the rack, so there's no flex, there's no wobble. The thing that I love to do is I like to add it so I can get some heavy bag work in, get a little extra conditioning that doesn't use my legs as much, and it does it without damaging your rack, bending your rack, or anything like that. It works perfect, right? So Shrimp Trawler also does pair well with my Mutant Metals Ultimate Dip Attachment handles. So I actually use those, and I can use them for neutral grip pull-ups, and it's just a great upper body workout that I can add. And again, you could add Olympic rings and work some different muscles as well. Okay, so if you want a deep dive on the Rogue Shrimp Trawler, I do have one. Again, I'll plug that equipment review list, that playlist in there. But I'll go over everything from the build quality through my favorite exercises and the installation. So overall, I think it's the forgotten attachment in the Rogue lineup. It is a large lineup, so it's easy to forget, but it is one of those attachments that's forgotten, but does add value and versatility to your rack, and it's definitely worth checking out. All right, so even with all the rack attachments that I currently own, I've got a few more on my radar. Things that I could really dial in my training even further and upset my wife. So, first up is either the Rogue Pritchard pad or the Sorinex Bulldog pad. I really like both of these attachments. They both turn your rack into a chest supported row station that is super useful when doing rows and lower back or to reduce lower back strain. It opens up some like machine style pressing variation and fly variations that I just don't have in my gym. Um, Next, I really am seriously considering a monolift system. Really been getting into Hatfield squats lately. When you go super heavy, it's really nice to kind of have that release. That way, you just get right into your squat. So maybe a Rogue version, maybe a rep version. I'm really honestly, if I go that route, I'm probably gonna go with Mutant Metals, those snapback rollers. They just look so clean, and the customization on them, they just look amazing, and it's just something I really want to add to my gym, and again support somebody that's doing a small fabrication shop. Lastly, not the sexiest pick here, but flip down safeties. Right now, I love my safety straps. They work great, but the versatility I can kind of add with adding more holes to add more attachments like a seat, that would be awesome to be able to do and great for heavy lifts, especially when it comes to like stationary, like I'm going to do, pin pole lifts, stuff like that. I think that would be great. So, surprise, surprise, just like many of you that are watching, I don't think I'm done building yet, right? It never ends. It's all about making my training smoother, though, and safer and more efficient for me. And honestly, just keeps things fun in the gym. So, in the comment section, let me know what kind of rack attachments you buy and some of the options I laid out there. Are some of them worth it to you, or maybe they're not worth it? So, go ahead and comment and let me know what I should add next. All right, so whether you're building your own home gym or just curious about the attachments, I hope this gave you some ideas and helped you decide maybe what's worth the investment and what is not worth the investment. Um, Ecosystem is key here. Obviously, I had a lot of Rogue products, or pretty much all Rogue products or Rogue adjacent products. So make sure that you do your research on your ecosystem first. But if you want to see more in-depth reviews, check out the links that I put in the description over all of the equipment that I've reviewed so far. I've got dedicated videos on things such as the Rhino Belt Squat Trainer, Mutant Metals, Ultimate Dip Attachment, and that Rogue Shrimp Trawler. So don't forget, if you like the video, if the video helped you, subscribe for more honest home gym reviews and hit that notification bell so you never miss a new upload. So make sure you drop in the comments. Let me know in the comment section which attachment do you like the most? Which one do you have in your setup that maybe you enjoy or what maybe surprised you? I'd love to hear from you. So thanks again for watching the Bar Gym Reviews. Please like, please subscribe, and we'll see you guys next time.